I would like to welcome you all to the opening plenary of the 55th Board of Governors of Ben-Gurion University of the Negev. And on that note, we do not take it for granted that in order to get here, many of you traveled for 10, 15, even 24 hours, 37, at considerable financial cost, overcoming flight cancellations, logistic headaches, and deflecting news reports that would convince regular people just to stay at home. So if that is you, 95 of you, you are anything but regular. Thank you for being irregular. I'm going to wait, it's probably... On March 6, 1953, Chagai Avriel wrote in the Kibbutz Sde Boker newsletter, "There aren't any crops, the water holes are empty, we did not manage to reap the hay on time, Barbara was killed, we are no longer free to walk around, Bambi was killed, a landmine was found on the road. The rain did not come on time. The Turkish flock is a disappointment. For the first time, a kibbutz member has left the settlement. The dam is losing water. The road is defective. And we are still here, developing, learning, and we will keep on going." Last Monday, less than 24 hours after a ballistic missile landed close to the airport, and Lloyd was the witness to that, I was privileged to host on our Marcus campus Gary Goodman, son of Larry and Lillian Goodman of Chicago, now leading the foundation, just as his father would have wanted him to do. I wanted to walk around the campus to show him our latest developments, but we were unable to walk across the quad outside the Zlotowski Student Center, since the students had set up a fair, initiated by Noah Deckel, the head of the student union. There was loud music blaring, spontaneous and unruly dancing, and even it was 11 a.m., beer was flowing. And BGU's camel, David, was there as well, obstructing everybody. So we walked around, and eventually I was able to take them to the Bernard Dog Training Park, and you should go and see it when you're there today. The Rachel and Max Javid Medical Simulation Building, and then from the roof of the Soref Building of Mechanical Engineering, I showed them 4 new buildings under construction on our North Campus. The Ernest Scheller Jr. Gate of Innovation, the Helmsley Computer Science Building, the Drahi Innovation and Entrepreneurship Building, the Diane and Guildford Glazer Future Technologies Building, and in planning, the Cindy and Max Mintzberg Cultural and Convention Center that we will visit very shortly. So then later that day, Dr. Galit Katrivas, Galit is here somewhere, I don't know where, called me excitedly. A long-awaited 3D printer on loan from Stratasys will soon finally be on its way to her lab, and that her BGU-designed customized nibble fabrications reaching unexpected levels of perfection, and imminent clinical trials will allow women with breast cancer to undergo a full mastectomy, knowing that their reconstruction surgery will provide them with complete dignity. And then, just as it seemed as if the day was over and that was enough, you know from Danny, from our esteemed president, I'm supposed to say, from Danny from previous years, one of our major areas of focus is to bring the best young academics in the world to BGU. And Dr. Benjamin Palmer, who you're going to meet on Wednesday, came here from Wales, not far from England, Chaim, as a Nachum Guzik presidential recruit. On that same day, it was announced that the Blavatnik Family Foundation, the Israel Academy of Sciences and Humanities, and the New York Academy of Sciences just released the laureates of the prestigious 2025 Blavatnik Awards for Young Scientists in Israel. And the foundation named Dr. Benjamin Palmer of Ben-Gurion University as a laureate, recognized for his pioneering research on how organisms create crystals. This week, we will focus on generating the future, generating our future. We will meet and learn from a generation who with purpose is assuming responsibility to proactively generate that future. We will spend time with our inspiring and value-driven students, with the most promising, brilliant researchers in Israel, with graduates of our leadership programs Zin, Ortzin, and Chalutz from 12 countries across the globe, and with young Israelis thrust into an expected reality, stood up and filled the shoes of their older counterparts because that was the right thing to do and because nobody else seemed to be doing it. So Chagai, Gary, Noah, Galit, Ben, and even David the camel exemplify the spirit of Ben-Gurion University. This week we will be immersed in that spirit from many different angles. We will all go home utterly exhausted and with our heads spinning from so many experiences. But we will do so uttering Chagai's words, we're still here, developing, learning. And we know that this generation will keep going. Before we continue, we must stop for a moment and remember that as we sit here in this beautiful air-conditioned auditorium, the Evans Auditorium, and Corinne is with us, for 583 days, 59 hostages remain in cruel and inhumane Hamas captivity. It is very possible that midday today, Israeli-American hostage Idan Alexander will be released. We will wait and we will let you know once we hear news. But later on this morning, we will delve into this painful matter in more depth. But Ben-Gurion University of the Negev will not rest until each and every one of these hostages is returned home to their families. It is my honor to invite Chairman of the Board of Governors, Lloyd Goldman, to officially open the 55th Annual Board of Governors meeting.
Thank you, Jeff. Dear members of the Board of Governors, Professor Daniel Chamovitz, Rector Chaim, Chairman of the Executive Committee, Avi Nissenkorn, esteemed faculty, friends, and distinguished guests, it is a great honor to welcome you to the 55th Annual Meeting of the Board of Governors of Ben-Gurion University of the Negev. Let me begin by warmly thanking each of you who has made the journey to Sed Boker from near and far. Jeff spoke about the difficulties of this year. I extend special appreciation to our international members who encountered much of that, and it's with great gratefulness that we see you here today. It is true to the spirit of David Ben-Gurion. The past year has brought continued challenges and profound transformation in Israel. The war persists. Across the world, upheaval continues. It's natural to feel uncertain about the future, yet we remain hopeful, not out of naivety, but because we believe in our ability to shape what comes next. That belief is captured in this year's theme, Generating the Future. Since October 7, our university has faced difficult realities, the ongoing call up of reserves, reduced budgets, and wide-ranging political discourse on campus. In the face of it all, our faculty, researchers, and especially our students have demonstrated remarkable resolve, not only enduring, but investing in a better future. Today, more than ever, we are committed to seeing BGU thrive as the engine of the South and a key force in the future of the Negev, something we'll hear more about throughout the week. We've also advanced our strategic goals. Several major buildings on the North Campus are nearing completion, strengthening our ability to educate and inspire students who will change the world. Meanwhile, the Beersheba Innovation District, with BGU at its core, is reshaping the region's economy and reinforcing the Negev and Ben-Gurion as the center of innovation. The Board of Governors has been central to this progress. Throughout the year, many of you have visited campus, engaged in committees, and contributed to our global campaign. Your participation, support, and partnership are deeply appreciated. I am proud to lead the board at this defining time. I encourage each of you to take an active role by joining committees, lending your expertise and insight. Moreover, I want to encourage you to help us expand our base of BGU supporters, as your commitment is essential to our mission and to the continued growth of this great university. We are very pleased to welcome a new group of Israeli governors, leaders already working with the university through industry collaborations, the IDF Southern relocation, and other key initiatives. Their involvement strengthens our network within Israel. In addition, after a long hiatus, we are excited to welcome to the board a new generation of ambassadors from South Africa, graduates of our Chamovitz program. As we come together this week, may we be inspired by all that has been accomplished and by all we will achieve together. The future is not just coming, it is ours to generate. I look forward to what we will continue to accomplish. Thank you.
And with his typical modesty, Lloyd forgot to mention that yesterday he made an outstanding, generous pledge to our Way Forward campaign, and we're very grateful to that. It is now my pleasure to call upon Professor Daniel Chamovitz, the esteemed, for his annual address to the Board of Governors.
A week ago, I don't think I could have imagined that there would be so many of you here. It's really, really quite heartwarming to see this. We actually had made out a call to everyone from Stable Care, from everyone in Beersheba to come fill the auditorium, and so that I'd have someone to talk to. Generating the future means, first of all, going back and remembering where we came from. How did it all begin? It all began with the old man, who we call as the pioneer, but no, he was Israel's first entrepreneur. And of course, what was his startup? Israel. Israel was the startup. And we know that, many of you know that, because you've seen this incredible diary that we found in the building next door that David Ben-Gurion wrote on November 29th, 1947, several hours after he heard on the radio, on the wireless, when he was down at the Dead Sea on vacation with Paula. They did take vacations together, where he writes down, it's been decided 33-13-10. That was the UN vote for the partition plan. And then what does Ben-Gurion do? He takes out his pen and he writes down a startup list, a government, a name. I thought this was beer. It's actually a capital. Bira is the same. He goes on to have ports, an airport, a currency, judges, courts, constitution. All right, he didn't get everything right. But this was what he had to get done within 6 months to build a country. Think about it, a startup list for a country. Imagining what was impossible. But he didn't just start building, wasn't enough to have that. Even after the country was founded, he continued to dream. At a time when there were more camels in Beersheba than people, and you can check the statistic, he dreamed of a Hebrew Oxford in the Negev. I mean, again, I've said this many times, was he a dreamer or a crazy man? Who could have imagined a Hebrew Oxford in the Negev when today Ben-Gurion University has over 20,000 students? He continued to dream. He wrote of scientists and researchers who would get energy from the sun, water from the air, developed ways of having vegetables and fruits grown from the sands of the desert, talked about sustainability before it was a buzzword. And I think we can all agree that what we've accomplished since then is nothing short of remarkable, and that's what brings us all together. It's really a moment of pride for me to stand here. I think it's a pride for all of us to be here, because we understand intuitively what is the role of Ben-Gurion University, what is the role of higher education in changing a society. But I had to ask myself the question, do other people in the Negev appreciate, understand, feel the same thing that we do? So as an academic, we actually carried out a study of people in the Negev, asking them, what are the institutions that you think are ultimately important for the future of the Negev? But more than that, what are the institutions which make you feel proud? You can actually graph this on a graph. You know, this is importance, this is pride. And the one institution that was up in the corner with the most pride, but on the most importance, was Ben-Gurion University of the Negev. There was one institution which had a little bit more pride, not as much importance, but that may change tonight. Anyone from Beersheba have any idea what that might be? Hapoel Beersheba, the football team. And it's a very important game tonight. I know that some of you will not be at the things to be part of that game, and that's completely understandable. But it's clear that we are the beating heart of the Negev. We are what keeps it going. And I could stand here, like I do every year, and tell you more of the same, more of the great things that we do. I could go on for 15 minutes, but let me do it in 1 minute. Okay, so our external research budgets have continued to grow to the amount of research done in the university is higher than at any point in history. This has led to another annual increase in Vatat government funding for the university of $10 million over the past year, $40 million over the past 3 years. Student registration continues to rise. I got the statistics yesterday. We're already up 10%, over 10% of where we were last year, and it continues to rise incredibly in the humanities. It's really, I think the rise was 40% last year, another 14% already for next year. We're the only university, I think, in the world that this past year we had a balanced budget. Definitely the only university in Israel, and this is only because of the incredible work done by the administrative staff of the university. And what this means, a balanced budget, is that there is more funds available for what we're supposed to be doing, which is education and research. We had new research centers over the past year. The Klein Institute for Nuclear Science and Engineering, which is going to be dealing with small nuclear reactors, this brand new way of nuclear energy that is so important for the future. And last week, the university voted, the Senate voted for the formation of a new faculty, the Faculty of Computer and Information Sciences. And maybe most, as an outcome of all of this, we rose almost 200 places in international rankings last year. This really is a moment of pride. So I could stop here, but I don't want to. The question has to, though, is, what is this impact worth to the Negev? We're doing incredible things. We feel that there's an impact. We intuitively know that we have an important role. But we carried out an impact study, an economic impact study, using the same criteria that most of the major universities in the United States use. And anyone have a guess what is the annual economic impact of Ben-Gurion University on the Negev? 3.5 billion shekels impact annually. This is by doing what we do every day, whether it's in salaries, in economic impact, in what our students renting apartments, in our ATP, that's incredible. Just by our daily activities, almost $1 billion goes into the Negev economy. And I think we have to ask, and this is not just numbers. I mean, we're changing lives, whether it be first-generation students who come to the university, incredible research in like quantum chemistry, or in research done here at Stable Care, building a wine industry for the Negev. And the list goes on and on and on. But is this enough? Can we just sit on our laurels and say, wow, we're doing great? And yes, we are doing great. But I think after October 7th, and we talked a lot about this last year, when we saw the importance of Ben-Gurion University to the Negev, where every institution, every community reaching out to us, I think the answer is no. We realize that we have to have an even larger footprint. Just imagine what would happen if we would double our impact. If instead of $1 billion, it would be $2 billion. I mean, why not? Why shouldn't that be our goal? And I think that has to be how we try to think strategically forward. How can we increase our impact? Because that's the way we will affect the Negev, the Israel, and the world. And I want to present a small plan of things I think we need to think about going forward. How are we going to double our impact? Well, first of all, we need to build a university that is AI resilient. I'll get into this in a second. What do I mean by AI resilient? We need to have a renewed commitment to the Negev. And we need to use entrepreneurship as the culture or force that defines us as a university. What's an AI resilient university? Now, of course, every university in the world, every institution, every school will be AI integrated. We cannot be. But what is the role of a university when every student has the learning of the world in their pocket? When we can ask any chatbot any question, write any paper? Why will students still want to come to the university? What we need to do is to embrace AI, but to do it without losing our humanity. And this helps us understand why we need to still coming to university. What does that mean without losing our humanity? I wasn't quite sure, really, what is the role of a university? So I decided to ask someone. And the person I decided to ask was David Ben-Gurion. Now, if you don't know, if you haven't heard, we built a chatbot called ChatDBG. It's online, you can find it, and you can ask David Ben-Gurion any question. We trained it on the archives. People from our computer science department, it's great. And so let's ask David what he thinks about this. So do you think artificial intelligence will replace the university? A university is based on it's based on deep values, focused on learning, research, and the development of human knowledge. I am convinced that artificial intelligence cannot replace the university. Okay, yeah. No, I don't accept that answer. Sorry, that's too generic. So, David, AI can teach, write, and even simulate reasoning. Isn't that enough? Technology can help us disseminate information and even partially replace teaching, but it cannot replace human judgment, academic dialogue, or the personal connections formed in universities. Remember this word connections. I want to come back to it because maybe that is what defines us as a university. But I'll ask them one more question because this is just, you could all go and do, it's all in Hebrew so far. You can ask it in English. It answers in Hebrew. You have to then go to Google Translate if you want to. But it'll soon be online in English also. So the last question I asked him, so what makes a university irreplaceable? Academia is a place where ideas, values, dreams, and cultures meet. This is something no machine can replicate. I mentioned a minute ago that our registration continues to rise. Registration for Ben-Gurion University is rising faster than at any other university in Israel. Where other universities are having trouble filling their seats, students are flocking to university in the age of AI. And why is that? It's because of the connectedness. Even when students want to have classes in Zoom, they want to do it together in the same room. They want to have a connection with their fellow students. They want to have a connection with their professors. They want to have a connection with the region, with the Negev, have a connection with the society. They're looking for meaning. So maybe actually one way of describing Ben-Gurion University is we are the one university that is a university of connecting, that students want to come to our campuses in order to meet other people. As one student said, we come to be Ben-Gurionim. People go to other universities to get a degree. Here they come to be part of their identity. And so in order to do this, we're going to have to double down on what it means to be human. Doesn't mean we're not going to stop studying engineering, computer science, medicine, and everything else. But we have to rethink what learning means. So, for example, if I can get any fact that I want here, if we're looking at STEM education, we'll have to go from absorbing language to expanding it, challenging the students right off for research and coming up with new ideas. We don't need to have them memorize anything. If we're looking at computer science, ChatGPT can code all we want. So we're not looking for coding AI. We have to reimagine our relationship with it. I met a PhD student with Professor Bracha Shapira in information science engineering. I asked her, what's your thesis on? She said, I'm studying fairness in artificial intelligence and how to program fairness. That's not just coding. This is incredible. And in medical care and healthcare, we have to go from human-centered care, that's going to stay human-centered care. But AI will be integrated in how we use it. We have to not forging minds, but to change it. This is what we want to do, our students know how to change the world. AI will be integrated in everything, but we have to remember the students as people. And in this age where meaning is the new scarcity. Data is unlimited. Our students are looking for meaning, and we give them meaning, especially in the Negev, especially after October 7th. And this is why we really have to have our renewed commitment to the Negev, because this is part of our meaning. That's why I appointed Professor Mickey Malul several months ago to be my coordinator of a Negev strategy. We always have had a Negev strategy. But let's double down on it and have every academic unit, every social unit, every administrative unit in the university have a Negev-based strategy. We need to reach beyond our 3 campuses. And we are, but let's already look, what is our footprint in the Negev? And to look at it, I went to Google Earth. You can all do this. So here's our campus, the Marcus campus. We actually have 3 campuses in Beersheba, the Tuviau campus, the Bergman campus, and the Marcus campus. But of course, we zoom out. We have a growing, wonderful campus in Eilat, which some of you know about. We heard a bit about that yesterday. We have here in Stable Care, the newly named, or soon-to-be newly named, Sylvan Adams campus. We have research stations where we just got several $1 million grant at the Mashash Farms. We go across, we have a research project with the Bedouin community in Wadi Yatir. We're now doing a new project in Sderot with occupational therapy with Sapir College and a water research center in Sderot after October 7th. We've opened a marine biology station in Ashkelon, and we have an agricultural research station that we're responsible for near Be'eri, near Oz, on the Gaza envelope. So we already are more than just our 3 campuses. But imagine that we can populate these pins also in Dimona, in Yerucham, in Arad, in Ofakim. What will our impact be on the Negev when we manage to do that? It will expand our presence beyond these campuses. We'll continue to open up opportunities for higher education for youth of the Negev, Jews and Bedouin alike. We'll conduct research that is based here in the Negev on the most pressing needs, whether it be in education, in social work, or in water research, or in a myriad of any other things. And we're going to advance Negev-born solutions here for the Negev. We just got a lovely donation from a foundation in Switzerland that wants to expand entrepreneurship, to look at social entrepreneurship, to encourage people to come up with new initiatives for the Negev. Which brings us to the idea that entrepreneurship is the cultural force that defines us as a university. This all comes from David Ben-Gurion University. What is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is being audacious, is not accepting the reality as it is, being able to dream of a future that doesn't exist. So we, of course, know entrepreneurship through Yazamut 360. We'll hear more about this. Yazamut 360 has provided this magic dust that influences all the faculties, has the potential to influence all the students, influences even the way the administration of the university works. Let's expand it beyond just that, also to social entrepreneurship, how we can work in the Negev with new, outlandish, audacious ideas which will have massive, massive impact. In order to do that, to do all of this, we embarked, as Jeff said, 5 years ago, on an incredible, incredible campaign, audacious campaign of $1 billion. And as Jeff said, we've already reached more than half of that. This is not, though, just funds to say we're raising funds. It's funds to have this incredible impact that we've been talking about. Let's just look, for example, how this has affected. This is, again, Google Earth in 2004. You can see it up there. Anyone could do this. This is the Marcus campus. Look up here. This is the North Campus, or what will be the North Campus. It was sort of like a dirt bike place, I think. This is where what will be the ATP, what will be the IDF base, and here in the middle is where will be my apartment. We forget that this is what Beersheba looked like 10 years ago, 20 years ago. If we go forward to 2010, we could see there's the beginning of the there's not even a DNA bridge yet being built here. But now let's move forward all the way up to 2013. In 2013, we see the first building of the ATP being built. The North Campus is still then. But already in 2021, we see we have dormitories. We see there's the DNA bridge. There's more buildings built in Gavyam, in the ATP. The apartments have been built. And in 2024, we already see here those first 2 buildings rising out of the North Campus. The only way we've been able to do this incredible thing is through this audacious thinking, through audacious fundraising, through audacious dreaming. And when we just imagine when we're here 5 years from now and the North Campus has 5, 6, 7, 8 new buildings in it, but not just because they're buildings. We're not here to be Herod. Think of the innovation coming out of those buildings. So we've built the ATP. It's still growing, a new building going up every 2 or 3 years. The IDF has moved adjacent to the university. It will be, the campus is complete. Soldiers are moving in. The official moving in is in the fall. It's amazing. We've been waiting for that for over a decade. We're building the North Campus. From now on, every year there will be a new building opening at each Board of Governors meeting. But there's still so much more to be done. But I just want to give you a sneak preview of what we're going to be looking at this afternoon. We're continuing to build. This is a sneak preview where we're going to be laying the cornerstone for the Cindy and Max Mintzberg Cultural and Convention Center, the iconic building that will define the North Campus and redefine culture in Beersheba and the Negev. But again, it's not enough. We have real needs still in the university. We need a new building for civil and environmental engineering. You know that they are still at Beit Hayas in the Tuviyahu campus. You know, exactly, there's still research going on there. We need a new building for the Faculty of Computer and Science Information building, and we need a new medical education building. Our medical school, the first cohort of the medical school 50 years ago, had 34 students. This year we have 200 students starting medical school. We just don't have the facilities to teach them all. But I have no doubt that we will reach these dreams because they are needs that are real, and we've always managed to fulfill our dreams. Last year, we talked about Ben-Gurion University as a 5th wave university. The first wave university teaches, a second wave educates, researches, a third commercializes, a fourth contributes economically, but a 5th wave university is intimately integrated with the community. And we are Israel's 5th wave university. By being of the Negev, we contribute globally. By caring for the Negev, we actually care for the world. By standing together with the Negev, especially in times of crisis, especially in times of need, we prove that academia can be the healing force which builds a better world. This is the view from my porch that some of you have seen, but if you haven't, you're all invited. You can see the dormitories, the new buildings coming out of the North Campus, like mushrooms. You know, this wasn't there 5 years ago, 6 years ago. The Marcus campus, you see the beautiful NIBN building. You see the DNA Bridge. Unfortunately, this is where there's supposed to eventually be a hotel. I'll believe it when it happens. If we would have the land, it would have happened already. We have the ATP, and beyond the ATP, we have the new Army base that is going to be opening in months. And beyond there in the Negev, we have the rest of our impact. Ben-Gurion University said the future will arise from the Negev. And here, what we are doing is it's generating the future from Ben-Gurion University of the Negev. We're not just Ben-Gurion University. We have to remember it's always of the Negev. And together, we will generate that future. Thanks very much.
So, Danny, we're going to, those people who are with us every year know that the next stage is you go off, you sit, Sheila says that was amazing, and then we bring up Lloyd. But we're going to deviate this year because we have something very, very special to do, and I'm going to ask Aviva to come up to the stage with you, Danny.
Okay. So what we're about to do, is this off now? Yes, okay. Lloyd is coming to the end of his second term as chairman of the Board of Governors. I have to tell a personal story. About 10 years ago, Shira and I were at synagogue, where we go infrequently. And at our shul, the rabbi said, we're starting a new building campaign, and we're looking for the first group of individuals who will commit to donating to the campaign. And I looked at Shira, I said, we're now at that point of life that we can actually do that. We wrote the check. Didn't come back to shul for a year, sorry. The next year we come back to shul, and there's our name on the wall, and the founders of the new building. And I said to the rabbi, I said, Rabbi, why'd you put our name on the wall? I said, we weren't looking for any recognition. He says, no, by having your name on the wall, you help me get other people to put their names on the wall. And each of you, I didn't understand that. All of you understand that. All of you understand it intuitively. And when Lloyd stood up yesterday and announced his incredible gift, it was not to give himself honor, but to encourage other people around the world to follow his example. And by being chairman of the Board of Governors, Lloyd, you, your family, for over 35 years, I believe, 40 years, 45 years, have been leading the way for the university. And it is really my honor to nominate you for a third, unfortunately final, term as chairman of the Board of Governors. And so following the university bylaws with the recommendation of the chairman of the executive committee and also of the rector, we ask you to, only members of the Board of Governors, to approve the appointment of Lloyd Goldman for a third term. All in favor, please raise your hand. Anyone against? Anyone abstaining? Lloyd, you are approved by unanimous acclamation. Now that we've finished that, you can now come and continue on your procedural matters.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you, everyone, for that. Present with us today are three of our vice chairpersons, Steve Breslauer, Ellen Marcus, and Tony Young, who is also chair of the Global Development Committee. On April 27th, the Finance Committee reviewed and approved the university's financial statements valid for September 30th, 2024, which you received electronically in advance. We now ask the Board of Governors to approve the financial statement. Those in favor, please raise your hands. Thank you. Any opposed? Thank you. The board hereby approves the financial statements, and I'd like to point out it was by unanimity. The university budget was reviewed and approved by the executive committee and was forwarded to you electronically in advance. We will now vote on the budget. Those in favor, please raise your hands. Those opposed? I would also like to point out that the budget is now approved and in unanimity. This year, we have made some amendments to the university's constitution and bylaws. After approval by the executive committee, explanations of the amendments were sent to you electronically. You can find them in the information sheets that were distributed today as well. I now request the Board of Governors to ratify these amendments. All in favor, raise your hands. Anyone against? Great. The amendments are approved by acclamation and in unanimity.
Our next order of business is to welcome new board members to the BGU family. But first, we must sadly also acknowledge those dear friends and supporters who have left us during the past year. These are the names of the board members and other supporters who have passed away since our last meeting. Yechiel Admoni, Robert Badinter, Avraham Ben Naftali, Paul Bronfman, Dr. Joseph Chekhanova, Nina Cohen, Estelle Cooper-Smith, Victor David, Robert Ellman, Jack Finkelstein, Aaron Fleck, Richard Friedman, Liz Gaines, Arlene Ginsberg, Herbert Glazer, Ellis Goodman, Martine Katz, Francine Hoking-Katz, Solomon Kroc, Minky Lipson, Moti Loba, Boris Gerson-Melamed, Sami Michael, Philippe Niedelman, Stephen Rogers, Conrad Sandler, Roberta Scheller, Caroline Simon, Yaakov Terner, Salomon Verso, Elsa Weinberg, Dr. Ruth Westheimer, Stefan Winnig, Edith Zen. May their memory be blessed. Yeh zichram baruch.
Having worked with many of them, just take a second. I would now like to present the recommendations for the re-election of members of the Board of Governors whose terms expire this year. These recommendations are the result of consultation with the nominees and the relevant associate organizations. We will not read the full list, but I ask you to refer to the renewal nominations that appear in the booklet placed on your seats. All in favor of re-electing these members, please raise your hands. Anyone against? Great. These nominations are approved by acclamation. I would like to thank each and every one of you for your continued service and partnership. We would now like to express our sincere gratitude to members of the board who will retire at the end of this meeting. I hope and am confident that we can count on their continued interest and support. And finally, we'd like to present the recommendations of the nominating committee for new members of the Board of Governors who will serve a 3-year term. These recommendations are the result of broad consultations, including with the relevant associate organizations. Please refer to the Board of Governors booklet that were distributed earlier for more information on our new nominees.
Okay. We have Yudit Bonitsky from Israel. Professor Shlomi Kodish from Israel. Nomi Fink, Israel. Tanya Golan from South Africa. Elizabeth Grzebinski from the US. Liora Hessen from South Africa. Maya Hoffman-Levy from Israel. Leon Kaplan from the US. Harry Leibovic, Canada. General in Reserves, Eran Niv from Israel. Anne Rotman de Picciotto from UK. And Ralph Shefford from Canada, here with us today. Dr. Jechiel Salomon, Harry Saratsky from the UK. Esteban Sokolsky from Israel. Robert Spitzer from the US. Daniel Jacobi from South Africa. And Raviv Tzoler from Israel.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. These nominations are approved by acclamation, and welcome to a great family of board members, and I'm sure you will enjoy participation. Could you please rise so we can congratulate you on your appointments and wish you a successful term of office.
In our second really very special deviation of the day, I'm going to invite President Chamovitz to join me on the stage with Lloyd. It is a huge, incredible honor for Ben-Gurion University that today we announce that our Sde-Boker campus, where we are currently located, will from today be named as the Ben-Gurion University of the Negev Sylvan Adams campus, Sde-Boker. Vice Chair of the Board of Governors, Sylvan Adams, is currently in Alberobella, Italy, where Israel's elite cycling team, Israel Premier Tech, is competing in the Giro d'Italia, bringing immense pride to the state of Israel, and will be joining us live on Zoom from Italy. Before we invite Sylvan to join us on Zoom, just a few words from Danny.
I think we all remember the excitement last year and a year and a half ago in Toronto when we announced the incredible donation of $100 million. At the time, we didn't say what it was going to be going to. Sylvan's gift has been transformative, not only for Ben-Gurion University, but for all of higher education, because it's sort of induced a bidding war that is benefiting all of higher education, which is really incredible, which is the only thing we could hope for. To honor Sylvan, we've decided to call this campus, the Sde-Boker campus, this from now on the Sylvan Adams campus. And so we will have our incredible Marcus campus, our incredible Sylvan Adams campus. In case anyone's interested, they're still on North and Eilat campus. And now I'd like to, is he on? Yes. I don't see him. Oh.
I am on.
Okay.
I don't know if you hear me, but I am on.
Sylvan, you want to, can you hear us, Sylvan?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go for it.
Good. Can you see me?
Yes.
So let me correct where I am. I'm actually in Tirana, Albania, which is the site of the big start of the Giro d'Italia. Israelis will remember that in 2018, perhaps, They will remember that in 2018, Israel hosted the Giro d'Italia, the Grande Partenza, the big start of the Giro, the first 3 days. And it's become somewhat of a tradition now to host the early part of the race in different exotic places. And here I am in Tirana, Albania. I don't know how many of the delegates and governors have been to Albania before, but I highly encourage it. It's quite an interesting place. And we have a great friend I met the Prime Minister, Eddie Rama, who was just pre-elected yesterday with a very large majority, who is a great friend of Israel and the Jews. And this is important, given that Albania is a majority Muslim country, and they have no beef with us. And it's a pleasure to have friends in Europe as well when we have such difficulties. So everyone knows that I call myself the self-appointed ambassador at large for Israel. And I said in the aftermath of October the 7th that if we want our people to return, we need to give them everything. They need infrastructure, they need housing, they need employment, they need also leisure activities. So in terms of rebuilding the South, I think that BGU is the economic engine of the Negev, of the South, and we need to bring our people back to the Otef and furthermore populate our Negev desert. And I will be hosting, as the president of the World Jewish Congress Israel chapter, I will be hosting the plenary in the coming week in Jerusalem. And I will be announcing, and I'm going to give you a scoop, a mission to bring 1 million new immigrants to Israel. And of course, if we bring them, they will have to go somewhere, and there's no better place for them to go where we have all this room than the Negev. So the investment in BGU is all that much more important. And I'm proud to be able to do it. I'm lucky to be able to do it, and humbled to be part of this wonderful institution that I have labeled, to me, the most important university in Israel. So, wow.
Sylvan,
I couldn't be there with you in person, but I am carrying the flag of Israel currently in Albania, and we're heading to Italy today. So we'll be carrying the flag of Italy for another week or so before coming back.
Sylvan, I just want to say, first of all, thank you very much. You are a great ambassador for us, and we understood why you couldn't be with us physically today. But this does not get you off of coming out back down here so that we can officially cut the ribbon on the campus with you here with us.
I look forward to doing it. As I said, we have a natural conflict every year. The Giro, which is held in May every single year, and the Board of Governors meeting, which is also in May. So it can be a little bit tricky, but we will find time to do it. I think we've set a date in June to do the ribbon cutting, and I will be very proud. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I'd also like to thank the CEO of Sylvan Adams Foundation, Aaron Leibowitz, who has been instrumental in making this all happen. Thank you very much, Sylvan. Good luck in the race today. Okay.
I am honored to call upon Raviv Tzoler to say a few words on behalf of the new members of the Board of Governors. Please, Raviv, thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Chairman of the Board, Mr. Lloyd Goldman, thanks for your gift, for your inspiring gift. President of the University, Professor Daniel Chamovitz, Thanks for your inspiring presentation. Rector, Professor Chaim, Chair of the Executive Committee, Mr. Avi Nissenkorn, dear members of the Board of Governors, I am proud today to say a few words on behalf of 17 impressive and committed colleagues from South Africa, the US, UK, Canada, and Israel that are the newest members joining the Board of Governors. Thanks to all of you that came to Israel again in such challenging times in our country's history. Thanks to all of you and to the executive and academic leadership teams for the continuous commitment to Ben-Gurion University, which plays such a significant role in the impactful development of the Negev region and the state of Israel as a whole. Such role will no doubt need to be stretched significantly for the state of Israel to double its population by 2050. Winnie the Pooh, my favorite cartoon character, once said, "Anyone who doesn't believe in magic will never find it." He also said, "A song and a hum are not the kind of things that you make up, they just happen to you." Ben-Gurion believed in a magical future for the state of Israel, and he allowed the song of the Negev to enter to his heart, and from there to the hearts of many. We all know what that has led to. Israel is a very strong country, with an economy that grew by almost 50% in the past decade, driven by a leading high-tech sector and an abundance of natural resources, including the second highest gas reserves in the OECD. We have one of the top 10 ranked hospitals in the world and 5% of the top 100 ranked global universities. We lead the world in agriculture development, as well as software security, and win Nobel Prizes on a regular basis. Even Ben-Gurion would have found it difficult to believe that Israel has developed remarkable water independence, leading the world in water desalination. Israel is also very diverse and actually happens to be the only country in the Middle East in which 1.6 million Arabs enjoy full human rights, including complete political and religious freedom. At the same time, we are still struggling as a nation due to a hostile Middle East, global anti-Semitism, and intense internal conflict, which must be confronted vigorously for our survival. Israel's integrity and resilience, which are critical for all Jews and for all of humanity, depend on thought leadership, ethics, and professionalism. BGU is a critical organ in the Israeli body. Its achievements reflect on Israel's resilience, innovative spirit, and commitment to progress across multiple sectors. Our nation's ability to adapt and thrive amidst challenges continues to influence its development and global standing. I was born on a kibbutz and have been leading Israeli companies for the past 30 years. In the recent 7 years, I had the honor of leading ICL, Israel's largest global industrial company, which is responsible for over 20% of southern Israel's GDP and almost 2% of Israel's overall GDP. I have personally witnessed and benefited from the tremendous influence of BGU on amazing local talent, as well as its contributions to research excellence, innovation, and international collaboration, its commitment to social responsibility and diversity, its impact through medical and desert science, as well as engineering, biotechnology, and unique support of students, even when faced with severe challenges, such as in post the horrific October 7th events. Therefore, it is a huge honor for me to thank the Board of Governors for accepting my colleagues and myself as your newest members. We humbly pledge to strengthen our ties to BGU and support the university's executive and academic leadership in accordance with its bylaws and procedures to the best of our abilities. May we all shine together and see the blessings of our efforts as we continue the journey of the vision handed down to us by David Ben-Gurion, whose name became the university's name in 1969. Good luck to us all.
Thank you, Raviv. The Board of Governors plays a vital role in supporting, promoting, and facilitating the well-being and growth of the university. Our committees provide oversight, expertise, and invaluable insights that we take very seriously. This year, we will hear from 4 committees: the Diversity and Inclusion, Students' Affairs, BGU's Influence on the Negev, and the Global Development Campaign. We thank all our friends who have agreed to serve as official members of these committees, as well as those who joined the discussions yesterday ad hoc. Special thanks goes to Joanne Moore, Dr. Esther Luzzato, Josh Arno and his representative Brenda Zlatin, who agreed to chair these committees together with the professionals from the university, Professor Orna Almog, Professor Miki Malul, and Professor Sarab Abu Rabia. Yesterday, we held the first opening meeting of the BGU's Influence on the Negev Committee. I'm delighted to call upon Esteban Sokolsky, a new member of the Board of Governors and an official member of this committee, to share remarks about the meeting yesterday. Please, Esteban.
Thank you. Today, we have the first meeting, the kickoff of the committee, together with the Professor Miki Malul. And Miki presented the mission of the committee, that is to develop the Negev into an hub of innovation and opportunity, driving social mobility, economic growth, and for the national strength of Israel. By shaping the Negev future, we are shaping the Israel future. The committee based on 3 main pillars: that the Negev vision, the Negev is the engine to grow the Israel community. BGU will lead the strategic dialogue in the Negev, coordinate all the partners to build a better Negev and a better Israel, and building an hub for social innovation, connect students and researchers with the Negev needs and challenges. And for the point of the action item of the yesterday meeting, we worked together with Yazamut 360, with Dana and the team, to maybe develop the social innovation. We need to prepare the short-term and long-term goals and KPIs, and for sure the routine of meetings with all the committee.
Thank you, Esteban, for the informative summary. This committee will play a key role in enabling the university strategy for the Negev to go forward. And now I call upon Terry Alpert, a member of our Students' Affairs Committee, to report on the meeting yesterday. Please, Terry.
Okay. First, regrets from Joanne Moore, our chairperson, who can't be here today. So I will pinch hit. Personal connections. Danny emphasized that. And for me, every year coming to the Board of Governors is not just about connecting with my fellow governors and supporters, but with the faculty, and most important for me are the connections with the students. And in our committee, we had a chance to get a glimpse into the lives of 4 remarkable BGU students, but probably 4 ordinary BGU students. Certainly every single one of them, no matter what they're studying, is giving to the state of Israel, each in their own way right now. And the focus of our meeting was really on their volunteerism efforts. So we met with an engineering student who has spent 300 days so far in Miluim, and yet is still somehow managing to keep up with his studies, even though he needs to attend most of his classes on Zoom and see them in recording form. We met with a humanities student who is doing all kinds of interdisciplinary work in humanities, but has always suffered from tremendous anxiety. And just before October 7th, she created an app to help anybody having a panic attack immediately know what to do and how to behave when that panic attack happens. And and those were 2 of the 4, and I won't. There's no way I can give justice to their stories. But they were united in their Zionism. They were united to their commitment to Israel and their commitment to the BGU community. And meeting with each of these students cannot help but make me realize that this generation of students may in fact be Israel's greatest generation yet. And when you look at them and you compare them to their generation elsewhere in the world, there is no question that the stars of that generation are here in Israel. And so I know we will have lots more opportunities to engage with students over these coming days. And I encourage you to get to know as many as you can on an individual basis, because ultimately this is about the humanity, and it is about the connections amongst us all.
Thank you so much, Terry, for sharing from the students' experience. That was great. And I would like to invite Valentine Mouchard, representative of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee, to give a summary from the meeting yesterday.
Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to share with you the tremendous work of this Inclusion Diversity Committee, led by the first Vice President of this initiative, Professor Sarab Abu-Rabia-Kader. This committee plays a crucial role in protecting democratic values, especially in time of war. Since October 7, the university has faced intense challenges, amongst them polarized communities, fear on campus, self-restriction on free speech, and growing government pressure. In this fragile context, how can we keep campuses inclusive, safe, and democratic? Diversity is not just a value, it's the engine of democracy. In academic space, it allows different identities and voices to coexist, debate, and grow. When students learn to disagree with empathy, not with fear, they learn to be citizens. Without inclusion and shared space, democracy cannot survive. Universities are not just places for knowledge, they are laboratories for coexistence. In May 2024, during the war, the team of Professor Sarab Abu-Rabia conducted a major survey of over 1,200 Jewish and Arab students. The findings were clear. Arab students expressed more openness and willingness to continue learning together. Jewish students felt more emotional distance and fear. Both groups underestimated the emotional struggles of the other group. And still, most students believe that coexistence is possible. This showed that despite trauma, there is a space for dialogue and hope. However, both groups agreed on one thing, that the university communication was not fully meeting their emotional and social needs. This is where the Shared Life Lab steps in. The initiative does not aim to change political opinion. Instead, it encourages students to collaborate, listen, and empathize, even when they deeply disagree. Through dialogues, programs, poetry workshops, faculty mediation training, and research into shared societies, the lab creates the condition for students and staff to see each other not as threats, but simply as humans. The philosophy is simple but powerful. When people get to know each other, they may not agree more, but they understand better. And that's what keeps a democracy alive, not by avoiding conflict, but by facing it with respect. This initiative is more than local, of course. It's a model for democratic resilience. In our time of deep societal rupture, BGU is showing again how university can protect freedom of expression foster civil discourses, and prepare future leaders for a pluralistic societies. It showed that campuses can remain inclusive even during national trauma. And this model test under extreme conditions can serve as inspiration abroad. To conclude, this is our call for action. If we show to the world that Arabs and Jews can work, study, live together in Israel during a war, this is not just coexistence, it's hope and it's leadership. We invite you to encourage your university abroad, your alma maters, to collaborate with BGU, to support academic freedom and raise funds for inclusive initiative in Israeli academia. To continue its major work, the Diversity and Inclusion Committee at BGU needs to raise $2.5 million. At a time when anti-Semitism is rising and international academic partnerships are under threat for Israeli university, supporting this program is a way to stand for democracy and to stand for Israel through the Negev, with action, not just with words. This spirit of vision, courage, and inclusion is deeply rooted in the legacy of Ben-Gurion himself, and it continues to guide the university he founded. It's a pioneering spirit, Israeli in essence, democratic in its soul, and global it's in impact. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Valentine. Finally, I invite Tony Young, Chair of the Global Development Committee, to give a summary from the meeting yesterday.
Thank you. And I just like, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I just want everyone to understand that the Global Development Committee was formed in 2000, and we had several different goals. The first goal was to increase the number of people who knew about BGU, which is a great, well-kept secret. We weren't looking for money. We were looking for... Closer? Can you hear me better now? We were looking for people who wanted to be part of this great effort we have. We wanted to have more new people coming to be aware of BGU. We wanted to begin to raise money in other countries. We wanted to develop the whole concept that we had a lot of power throughout the world so that we would really understand what is going on as a people, what it means to the Jewish people to have a country and what we all have to do about it. Of course, we're looking for dollars too. That's very important to us. And at every level, we are succeeding. So now I will read what the official report is, that the 8th meeting of the Global Development Committee marked a pivotal point in our campaign as we near the halfway mark. And that's the key. We're halfway. We're ahead of pace. That's very good. That's because of the work that we've all done. But we want to do better than the $1 billion. We need to do better than the $1 billion because there's so much work that needs to be done. President Danny Chamovitz led a deep dive into the immediate needs for advancing BGU's North Campus and reinforcing our vision as a global innovation hub. Committee members were also treated to 2 engaging presentations, one showcasing exciting developments at the Eilat campus and another emphasizing the urgent need for a dedicated civil and environmental engineering building. Together with our global associates, we reflected on the power of a united campaign. This is the moment when we all have to come together, despite our differences, despite our politics. We have to find the ability to work on what we know will save Israel and will save the Jewish people. We're not living in ordinary times. So our sense as a group is that together with our global associates, we reflected on the power of a united campaign and the personal motivations that drive collective impact. While our fundraising realities are ahead of pace, we need to really focus on the North Campus and get things done. We heard reports from both the whole area of Eilat and what they need in Eilat to develop the campus, and we heard some excellent reports on their needs. We talked about ways that we could reach out to people and really make them understand this. And that's much of what Danny told you just now about the need to develop the whole structure. We learned from our wonderful consultant, David, we learned about the fact that if this campaign is going to succeed, we need to develop the physical structure. That should be at least 50% of what we raise. So this is why we spent a lot of time learning about the needs, both in Eilat and right here in Beersheba. Excuse me, State Boker. But we talked about so much. The big point I think that I want to make is that this group has been working together since, as I say, 2000. And in spite of COVID, in spite of the war, in spite of the fires and everything else, the group is growing. We now are all good friends. We talk to each other, we communicate, and we have a global network that's working on these issues. And I thank all of you who are on the committee who have become good friends. And I say to all of you, anybody who wants to join us, please join us. We want you on whatever level you want to come in, but we need you and we want you. And please start coming to our meetings. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tony. We wish all our board committees much luck as they move forward towards the objectives that were laid out, and we invite other members to join these committees as permanent members and influenced by actual action. Now, I'm honored to invite the Rector, Professor Chaim, to present his annual review. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not sure it'll be an annual review, but we'll see. Dear friends and colleagues, welcome to the Board of Governors, and thank you all for coming, notwithstanding the Houthis. Over the past weeks, I've been thinking a lot about what I wanted to say today. On the one hand, we are gathered here to celebrate our incredible university, and there are many, many positive things to focus on, and many of them you heard from Danny just before. The dedication of our faculty to research and teaching, our amazing students, many of whom have faced unbelievable challenges since the 7th of October and are overcoming them. My colleagues in the academic leadership team who have led by example. The new faculty that we have just announced and are establishing. On the other hand, our wonderful university does not exist in a vacuum or a bubble. And the state of this country, indeed, large parts of the world, raise existential questions about our future ability to flourish and fulfill our mission, questions that we ignore at our peril. So, in the few minutes allocated to me this morning, and though not wanting to spoil the general celebratory mood, but aware of the responsibilities attached to my position, I would like to point out some of the things that we need to be aware of as we navigate this enormous ship and its very precious cargo through the very rough seas we are sailing in. Who could have imagined when we gathered here last year that Israel would still be at war, that 59 hostages would still be in the hands of the murderers in Gaza, and that many thousands of our students would still be doing reserve military duty, some for the third and fourth time, some over 250 days of service. This is by far the longest war that Israel has ever fought, and it has and continues to exact a terrible price on our society, tearing apart the social contract that binds us together and gives meaning to our existence here. I have no intention of getting into the political optics of the ongoing war and all that happened in the year preceding it. However, it impinges on academia and on our university. I will highlight just one specific area, the issue of what's called in Hebrew shivyon banetel, an equal sharing of the burden of defending and developing our country. I'm referring to the tens of thousands of Haredi youth, ultra-Orthodox youth, who are avoiding conscription and by doing so, increasing the burden on our students who pay the price with their lives, limbs, and time. Particularly after the 7th of October, this is unsustainable and immoral, does not align with any Jewish values that I am aware of, and has to be changed so that we do not slide backwards as a country into ignorance and poverty. Research is a collaborative activity and needs a community, both here at the university, in Israel, and internationally. Peer review, participation in conferences and workshops, dialogue and discussion, the dissemination of ideas are all part and parcel of what makes academia tick and evolve. These are essential components of academic life and praxis, and funding these endeavors, allowing time and space to think about ideas that may or may not lead to new discoveries and further our knowledge, hopefully for the betterment of humankind, are crucial. Yet, the voices for boycotting Israeli academia are loud and growing in number and crescendo. The desk rejections of articles sent to international journals are increasing. Grant proposals are getting turned down in larger numbers than before. Faculty are being turned away or having their lectures cancelled at conferences, and the protests on campuses in Europe and the USA calling for, and this morning also Canada, calling for disengagement from Israel are having a chilling effect. Academic freedom is an essential component of everything we do. It is not absolute, nor does it give us the freedom to do whatever we want and say whatever we wish to with impunity. But when it is upheld, academia flourishes. The higher education law in Israel currently recognizes this important principle and gives universities the autonomy to run their own affairs and provides the freedom to research and teach. The ongoing attempt by the current government in Israel to weaken the justice system and politicize it, along with disturbing policy decisions by other governments, present cause for worry for the future of academic freedom here in Israel. Though not wishing to press the panic button, the way higher education in Israel is organized and funded is comparable to other countries in Europe where academic freedom has been severely curtailed. There have already been attempts by the current Minister of Education to increase his control over our regulator, the Council of Higher Education. In the Knesset, laws are being promulgated which seek to interfere in the quality of our academic degrees, demanding that we narrow the parameters of freedom of speech on campus or face budgetary cuts, and even make gender separation on campus and in the classroom obligatory. We must remain vigilant, and we have a responsibility to speak out clearly and unequivocally when necessary, to make sure that we can provide doing what we do best, providing well-trained, educated, and civically involved graduates for the workforce, the next generation of researchers, and do all we can to protect academic freedom. The last, but definitely not least challenge that I would like to mention is generative artificial intelligence. I'm sure that almost everyone here has their favorite AI app, and some of you are probably wondering whether I, or AI, wrote this speech. And therein lies the nub of the problem. As AI improves, and it is doing so at a frightening pace, what will be left of the traditional skill sets that are the foundations of higher education? If AI can provide a literary review of any number of articles in minutes, if it can write an assignment or create code, If it can solve problems and create presentations, even podcasts, in a blink of an eye, we could easily become redundant if we do not adapt and evolve. You heard some of this from Danny also earlier. This is a conversation that we have been having for a couple of years, but we are behind in our ability to come up with good solutions. And as our students are already telling us, though there are positive ways to use AI, it is already impinging on the learning process and has become a very disruptive factor. This is true not only for undergraduates, but also for research in many disciplines. There is no telling of the effect that this will have on our thought processes, on our ability to analyze and think things through, on our willingness to devote the time and effort needed to read widely and critically. Oh, and just in case you wanted to know, I wrote this speech. One possible solution to the challenges of AI is the brainchild of one of our beloved board members, Tony Young, who has donated a substantial amount of money to setting up a framework that will increase the exposure of many of our students to humanistic texts and ideas. We will hear more about the Young Family School of Human Experience in another session during the board, so I will not expand on this now. I will say that a revival of the humanities is definitely on the cards in the age of AI, as the skill sets needed are part and parcel of what is taught and researched. Given all the above, and even though the seas are rough, I know that we will face all the challenges head-on, together with all of you, and we shall overcome them. Over the past 583 days, we have shown strength and resilience. It is in our DNA, and it is the BGU way. Since we met, there have been a few changes in academic leadership. I'm changing the tone slightly. Professor Louisa Meshi from the Chemical Engineering Department became Vice Rector for Teaching instead of Professor Timur Melamed, and Professor Yotam Lori was elected, or Loria was elected as the Dean of the Guilford Glaser Faculty of Business and Management. Before I end, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Mira Golom. Is she here? Mira, can you stand up for a sec, just so everyone can see you? Most of you don't know who she is, but I will explain in just a moment. Mira Golom is the academic secretary, and she will be retiring at the end of 2025. The position of academic secretary is one of the most crucial and important in the academic administration of the university. And over the past 6 years, and through numerous crises, coronavirus, strikes, military operations, and war, Mira has worked tirelessly to ensure that academically things work efficiently and professionally. She likes to remain in the background, but she is a font of wisdom on all things to do with teaching programs, process, and bylaws for me and for my deputies, Professor Gal de Botton and Louisa Meshi, and all the staff. And we all owe her a debt of gratitude. Everything we have been doing since the 7th of October has been overshadowed by the fact that there are still 59 hostages in Gaza. They must be freed immediately. Thanks for listening, and I will be delighted to continue the conversation over the next couple of days.
Thank you, Professor Chaim Hames. If it was possible to approach JPT and ask if they could take the bathroom break on our behalf, we would do so. But since it's not, we're going to, before we start our next program, we're going to have a very short, please, 10-minute break. Be back here. We have a really amazing annual Halpern Center ahead of us. So 10 minutes, and please be back at your spots. Thank you.